UFC back on Saturday. Magomed Ankalaev knocks out Johnny Walker in the second round. Hard to argue with him not having some sort of say in the light heavyweight proceedings. If they do, in fact, do Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira, I would think he would be either next or one win away. If Jamal needs more time, Achilles is a very serious injury, I can see them doing Magomed versus Alex Pereira right now. I definitely think that Rakic and Prochaska are in the mix, and I definitely think that Khalil Roundtree needs to be in the mix as well. So all of a sudden, the division that was in flux, that seemed cursed, that seemed quite shallow, now has a very dominant champion, a very exciting champion, and a bit of a queue of contenders. And that was exactly the kind of win and performance I think that Magomed Ankalaev needed. He needed that after the last two fights, the draw in late 2022 and then the weird ending to the Johnny Walker fight in October. He needed that kind of performance to say, all right, great winning streak, great unbeaten streak. I'm the guy. You need to get by me. I need a shot. Let's do it. And it seems like Alex Pereira is into it because not only did Glover Teixeira respond, but I think in some way, shape, or form, Alex did as well via social media. Hard to keep up with it all. And so that was impressive. Jim Miller winning once again, impressive. Defeating Mowgli Benitez, that was super impressive. And later on that night, and we're going to talk more about all of this, have no fear, but later on that night, over in Quebec City, I told you guys to watch the Artur Beterbiev versus Callum Smith fight. It was fantastic. And I also mentioned Christian Mbili fighting in the co-main event, a man to watch. I don't think he gets the likes of Canelo Alvarez next, a little too unknown, but golly, this guy sitting in the pocket and just throwing power shots was supremely fun to watch. And shout out to his opponent, Murdoch, who stood there and took all those shots, but golly, could have made a case for that fight ending a couple rounds sooner. Today at the press conference for Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh says that he wants Dimitri Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev in June. And so we'll see if they are able to get that done. Speaking of June in Saudi Arabia, I can tell you exclusively here on the show that I'm being told via sources that the planned March 2nd UFC event in Saudi Arabia is being postponed, and the target is June. I was told that the reason for the postponement is because they just want, the powers that be in Saudi Arabia want a, how should we put it, they want a more entertaining fight card. They want a deeper fight card with bigger names on it. Weren't too pleased with what was being offered. And so it is being, at this point, moved to later in the year, June. And the moment I heard about this made me think of the post from Islam Makhachev last week who said June 8th pay-per-view. Remember I said he didn't just pull that out of his hat. He must have known something. And so that makes all the sense in the world. Islam Makhachev fighting in Saudi Arabia on June 8th, potentially against the Justin Gaethje. Saudi Arabia was never going to accept a lesser card to what Abu Dhabi is getting or anyone else is getting. Just look at what they're doing in the world of boxing. And so I always found it a little bit surprising that it was just being billed as a fight night. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a pay-per-view. That part I don't know, and the Islam part I don't know. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. But what I do know is the March 2nd card looking like it's not going to happen on March 2nd, and this back-to-back stretch of fights that I talked about from the 17th to the 8th looks like there might be an opening there, and it will happen later on, potentially in the year, in June. Let us talk about this past weekend for now. Magomed Ankalaev beats Johnny Walker. Tremendous finish. Will Magomed Ankalaev's next fight be for the light heavyweight title, Rick?
I don't know enough about the timeline for Jamal Hill's return. If it is extended, then yes.
Do you think... Okay, so...
I don't think he's a preferable option to Jamal Hill. I think if Alex Pereira is given the opportunity to fight one or the other, he will choose Jamal Hill every time. And so it depends on when Alex is coming back and when Jamal is healthy.
Is there anyone else that has a
Nope.
a claim? No.
Well, yes, Israel Adesanya, but that's on Israel. If he chooses and wants to, he would skip the line.
I think there's bigger, as we discussed last week, Izzy versus DDP, Izzy versus Strickland, these are all as big, if not bigger at this point. You don't think?
I do. But you're asking me if there's anybody else in the light heavyweight title contention. I'm not answering whether I think that is a bigger fight than any of those two. I would probably say it is because it's for another title for Izzy. And the rivalry between Alex and Izzy continues to provide. So probably, but I'm only answering that there is somebody who could skip Magomed in line other than Jamal Hill.
I just don't
Izzy
want...
said I want it.
Yeah. I just feel like we saw him at 205, and I know it's a completely different opponent, Jan and Pereira.
A little bit different because he's fought this guy.
No, a lot different. Yes,
same guy.
I just want to see him. I like the story of him recapturing that belt as opposed to the story of him going after Pereira because they have that history. Do you know what I mean?
I'm with that, but he's already done that story. He already did the recapture the belt story.
No,
did it once already.
This is a different one. This feels different.
Not to me. That one felt more significant. The Alex one felt way more significant. I think, look, if you're Israel Adesanya, you've got no bad options. These are all great for you. If you're the UFC planning Israel Adesanya's next fight, these are no bad options. I just think Alex is in a spot where he's got some choices to make, right? Like what is going to be his next fight? And I don't think there's a no-brainer amongst them, other than if Jamal Hill says I can go ASAP. And Alex says, yeah.
I wonder, Achilles is a real... I mean, I know Mr. Aaron Rodgers was trying to come back 2 months later, but that's usually a year.
It's usually a long-term injury. And even when you come back after the year, it's not an immediate return to full form. So, yeah.
Can I offer this scenario? Could we get Roundtree, Pereira, Magomed, Hill, number one contender fight?
Why is Roundtree hopping Magomed?
Because he's just on fire and he's a good dude.
Why is Roundtree jumping Hill too?
I just want to see Roundtree fight for the belt, basically.
Look,
I'm also
not
I
against
think the most fun matchup for Pereira is Roundtree versus Pereira.
I agree.
Just stylistically, I'm talking here.
I mean, I could see a world because I don't think Hill and Pereira to me feels like a potential pay-per-view headliner. Pereira and Magomed feels more co-main event-y to me, honestly. Like, you're not getting a lot of promotion out of Magomed. Obviously, Alex has some juice, but like, you're not getting a lot of trash talk, English speaking. There's going to be some real hurdles in the promotion of that fight. So why not? I feel like Khalil could hop in there. Now, I don't think it's likely.
I don't either.
Because of how Magomed's performance went, but I don't hate it either because if it's going to be a co-main, why not? Like, that's okay. That's a suitable co-main in my opinion. So yeah, it just does feel like though we are all kind of looking for reasons for it not to be Magomed because he doesn't have something.
I'm not looking. I
am.
Okay. No, I mean, Ankalaev Pereira, tough fight for Pereira.
Yeah.
Super tough fight. Agreed.
There is a star power vacuum with Magomed. He doesn't have that yet. Now, I've kind of talked about it this week leading into the main event. I think there's a pathway. You learn a little bit of English, you do a little bit of a Habib and Islam impression, you talk just enough and do just enough, and you start stringing together wins and it will come, but right now he doesn't have that. He's not there yet.
If Hill comes back, you do Pereira versus Hill. If he's not ready to come back yet, you do Pereira versus Ankalaev. And if Hill does come back, you do Ankalaev versus Khalil Roundtree.
Ooh.
There you go. Just solve the light heavyweight division.
Can I tell you on this...
when is Alex fighting? This is the important thing.
Seems like he's ready to go. He keeps teasing news and Glover's tweeting.
It's probably going to be Magomed.
I feel like it's going to be Magomed.
I like Glover talking shit on his behalf.
Yeah.
I still, this whole, what did he do? Like 3 plus 100 times 3?
Yeah, we're not trying to dissect that.
I think it was 30 plus 300 equals 3.
Yeah, something like that. What about this scenario? This supposed June show in Saudi Arabia, Islam versus Gaethje.
Yep.
Pereira versus Ankalaev.
Sure. Makes sense.
Khamzat versus the winner of Strickland DDP.
Oh wow!
Title fight.
So we went June from a fight night. Yeah,
that card and Conor McGregor in it.
Also,
oh my god, yeah.
I just have to say,
Okay.
here,
There'll be no champions left by July.
I was just about to say, all right, so we got McGregor going at the end of June. Now
Yeah.
you've just laid out a triple.
This is, by the way, I'm just.
I know. We're just theorizing here. So that would be 302, 303 McGregor.
Oh my God.
300 is also going to be pretty stacked up. 299 is obviously stacked to the gills. What does 301 become? I mean, is 301 just that like T-Mobile? There's no champs on it. They put the BMF belt on the line for some random division.
I think UFC is canceling vacations. MMA fans are going to have to cancel summer plans because they've bought every single pay-per-view in the lead up to the summer. It's just, that's it. We're done after June.
I just want to know what happens at 301.
No, because
Nothing.
okay, so
Done.
I feel like there's a scenario where they keep Grasso for Noche UFC because they're banged up. Her versus Shevchenko. We found out last week Zhang Weili is fighting Yan Xiaonan. That was after our show, I believe. It was Wednesday night, if memory serves me correct, right? Or was that before the show? I don't remember. No, it was after the show.
It was after the show.
Yeah.
Stayed up really late.
Yes, for that.
Yeah.
And everyone got upset. Yeah, I mean, they'll find someone. To your point, they could just do a BMF title for, the women's featherweight division or something like that. Everyone would be like,
sick.
oh my God, this
Sick.
is incredible.
I mean, put Silver on the line. I'm there.
What about the
Wait,
reaction?
is it Silver interim? Or
No,
now we're
that's what
remaking-
it should be. Silver's
Okay.
BMF right now.
Got it.
What about the reaction to this 300 news?
The Zhang fight?
Yes.
So it's a great fight. He could have just announced it when he was making the announcement about having to make an announcement, though.
Is it possible the fight? Yes, 100%. Is it possible the fight wasn't done when he made the announcement for the announcement because they didn't even have a poster ready for it? They just did the old Marcel
That was
Dort.
actually crazy. That was actually crazy because they just have the Photoshop template.
Yes.
All they had to do was plug in the two fighters and change the names.
Yes.
They didn't even have that ready.
They just did the two pictures side by side.
Yeah, there's a case to be made that, they weren't ready for it.
By the
They
way,
didn't have
two
it
separate
done.
photo files too, not even the same file, not even
You don't
mashed
see that
up
from the
together.
UFC. You don't even see it. I mean, they have the 300 template too. They've used it for every one of the fights that have been announced. I guess the only good thing that came out of it was they got hashtag oil 'em up trending. Anything Dana posts now is just like, we're going to oil you up.
Is there a case to be made? I don't even know. Because again, everyone's going all crazy. Then they come back with Cody versus Figueiredo on Friday, which is a great fight that everyone wanted. I just don't know how they try to avoid. People were saying that I was talking down to the fans when I said, like, you need to just curb your expectations here. And all I was trying to say was, what was the most amazing thing about it? I put out 2 tweets on Thursday. One of them was, 300 isn't all that bad. You guys just have to recognize that you're getting a great pay-per-view every single month. And so this idea of like some Super Bowl to end all Super Bowl of UFC just doesn't really exist because you have to fulfill those masters in January and February and March, etc. And so people are like, it's because Dana White said so. He promised us the greatest fight of all time. And so then now I was being called like a Dana White sympathizer, and I was being called it was wild. And what I wanted to say, if I was in the mood to engage in all the comments, was that's the job of a promoter. A promoter is supposed to tell you on Saturday it's going to be the greatest card in Toronto history, and next month's featherweight title fight is going to be the greatest ever. That's the job of the promoter. The job of the media and the fans is to say, all right, I'm into this, I'm not into this. Like, that's what he does. That's quite literally his job, is to promote and to let you know that everything is going to be the biggest and best. That's what promoters do. The next tweet that I had was saying, hey, it's just not 2016, which was when 200 happened. And 2016 had Connor, and it had Nate, and it had Ronda, and it had John Jones, and it had Daniel Cormier, and Bisping, and Cruz, and Faber, and all this stuff. And Stipe wins the belt. It's just not the same. There just isn't as many superstars. And then I got, look at Ariel, trying to hate, always hating on the UFC. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to get you guys to a point to where you appreciate this card because it's going to be a great card. If Bo Nickel is in fact the first fight of the night, the curtain jerker, that is a great card. That is an amazing card. And there's yet to be one dud on this. There's yet to be one fight on this card that you're like, this fight sucks. They're all great. They're just not matching the expectations that everyone has set, Dana White's fault or not, for this card, because I don't know, like I saw some people putting up mock cards and it's like, these things can't even happen. They're not even realistic. These people aren't ready. They're not fighting. They're not on the roster, whatever it is. I'm just trying to get people to understand that. It's not that I'm trying to sympathize. It's not that I'm trying to hate. You just have to understand that it's a different time than 2016. They don't have this plethora. I also saw people saying that's revisionist history. Bisping and Rockhold and Faber and Cruz weren't as big today as they were back then. I would argue they were bigger then than they were today. In the prime of their careers, what are you talking about? Like, we were all there living this. DC was bigger then than he is today. So anyway,
don't apologize for using the minimum amount of brain power required to figure this out. Like, don't apologize for that. Like, that's on them. That's on whoever has created these artificial expectations and extrapolated from what Dana White said to all of a sudden Habib and GSP are fighting. Like, that's not your fault. That's nobody's fault other than themselves.
Well, maybe it's Chael's fault, but other than that,
there you go.
Yeah.
You know what? You're right.
The expectations are pretty. They're getting out of hand. I mean, also they did like a promo for it on the Apex card on Saturday, and like the read for it was like the greatest card in UFC history. Like, they were hyping it up crazy. But the first 6 fights are amazing. Like, that have been announced so far. The first 6 fights, all 6 of them are amazing.
I still feel like there's there's at least one rabbit.
I mean, I would say I'd be pretty disappointed if the main and co-main were Edwards, Bilal, and Zhang Yan. Like, if that's main and co-main, that just does not feel like UFC 300 main and co-main.
No, I get it. I get that. It's just another number at the end of the day, and
of course it is. Yes,
and sometimes the stars align to where the MSG card back in the day, they couldn't find a main event, and they had to beg DC to fight Derek Lewis on 3 weeks' notice. And then sometimes they've got the main event set for 7 months, and they're ready to go.
True or false?
Yeah.
The UFC cares more about the quality of the card that will be in Saudi Arabia or over UFC 300?
I don't think so. They're giving this the special treatment. Like, it's got the graffiti logo and all that, and everything's gold, and they're already hyping it up on all of these Apex cards. So I think it means a lot to them. Plus, the first 6 fights are great. First six fights are really good.
It's a great card.
It's hard for me to answer that question because I don't know about the moving of the card and is this new card going to be a pay-per-view or not?
Sure, if it's a fight night, then obviously wouldn't be fair to compare. But I know where I would focus my attention.
Because again, I think they truly believe that 300 sells itself. Just that number alone. But again,
also they've done enough investment in this card. It's a great card to the point that you've already made. Like, what more? I don't understand what is happening right now where we've looked at the card, we looked at the available fighters that could possibly fight on this card. Where are these other options coming from? Where is this thing that is going to wow people? It does not exist. So what are we thinking about? How have we not moved past this at this point? UFC 300 is what UFC 300 is going to be.
I think it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be fine.
Awesome.
It's a great card.
Especially once they add Aspinall and Waldo Cortez Acosta.
Yes, there it is. We might even get in July Manchester, and I don't know if that's going to be a fight night or a pay-per-view. Who knows? All I know is stop being so negative, everyone. All right, there's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot. I mean, it's like banger after banger. We're getting 297 this weekend, and then we're getting I don't even know.
298 Volk Topuria, which is.
Or are you trying to go
I'm trying to go. Who's on the 27th? Is there no
card? There's no card on that.
Wait, so then who's on the?
And then the other one is Imavov. Yeah.
Yeah, Delice Imavov.
The co-main for that one is better than the main.
Yes. I remember remarking and thinking that myself. I forgot who it is, but yes, that I did think that.
I know what it is. I'm just waiting for you guys to.
Yeah,
I don't know it off the top.
UFC Fight Night.
Yeah.
Hanato Moicano Drew Douglas.
That's right.
That's the one. Yes, that's what I remember seeing that. Be like, I'm surprised Moicano.
I mean, big month for Georgia.
I had the same reaction.
Delice, Merab, Topuria. Big month for Georgia.
Oh, Georgia, yeah. Georgia, I thought you were going to throw in a state of Georgia in there as well.
No. Maybe one championship coming this fall, though, you know?
That is true. Also announced since we last spoke, Sean Brady to the event you guys are going to against Vicente Luque, March 30th.
You got jersey ties. Sean Brady just across the border in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Philly.
Great.
AC is close to Philly.
Aaron Blanchfield on the card as well already.
Yes. If you're Vicente Luque, are you annoyed that you're not getting Ian Gary and you're getting Sean Brady instead? Because you can make a case that Brady's a tougher matchup just given the skill set, right?
I do think it gives him a little more oomph, or a little more propulsion toward a title shot, though. I think a win over Brady really matters in that division.
Brady's 7. Gary.
Bilal Muhammad's still waiting for his title shot after the win over Brady.
Well,
yeah, I know what you mean. He actually had to fight.
Everybody's made the case for Bilal Muhammad at this
Well,
point.
you have to fight Beneil to get that title shot.
Yeah.
Supposed title shot. But I get what you're saying. I'm just saying Ian Gary just so high profile at this point.
Sure, I don't think Luque cares about that part, if I'm being honest. I think a win over Brady does more rankings-wise. And that's what he needs.
Yeah. You guys happy with that as the main event for the card you're going to?
Cool with it. I love that there's like actual ties to Jersey on the main and co-main.
fight.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's awesome. AC gonna take it over. Shut it down.
Man, there's just so much. There's just so much going on. Did you guys watch the Beterbiev fight on Saturday?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Beterbiev.
What about that Christian and Billy? You see that in the co-main?
That man was throwing hammers, dude. When he knocked the mouthpiece out of the entire ring, and they said it landed on like a top rank exec's lap, and he had to like hand it back into the ring.
Yes,
that was crazy, man.
I had it on like on the side. I was on the UFC Vegas 84 post show, and I had it on the side. The mouthpiece flying out got me to like legit crank my neck and turn to see it because that was some wild stuff.
He's calling for Canelo, huh?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. He just doesn't have the name. But very exciting. Represents France, but also trains out of Montreal now and represents Montreal. That was a great crowd, too, in the midst of a snowstorm. They didn't cancel that. Like those soft Buffalo fans.
The hype for Beterbiev was sick.
Oh, it was great.
Like they really own him there.
Beterbiev hit Smith with a uppercut to the neck. Did you see that?
Yes.
Golly, this guy. He's terrifying.
Terrifying.
But then he's so nice and soft-spoken in the post.
Yeah.
He's like, merci, Quebec. And he's just like, so... There's no like... I'm going to smash you from him. You know what I mean?
Does not look 38.
No.
Does not fight like he's 38.
Turning 39 in like 2 weeks, too.
Crazy. Loved the pinstripe gloves, the black with the white stripes on it. Thought those looked great.
By the way, was that a shot at the atypical findings in his pre-fight test? The fact you're saying he doesn't look like he's 38, was that a subtle shot?
No, I was just commenting on appearance.
They said he had elevated levels of HGH. And there was a whole thing with Vada and
he's a growing young man.
Victor Conti and Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum. So much drama.
I missed all of this.
Oh, you missed all of it?
Yeah,
oh,
no,
my
I was just
gosh.
enjoying the fight. How about Eddie Hearn? I mean, just in business casual, just looking like a normal guy in the ring on Saturday night.
He was just there to back his guy. It's an away game.
I loved it.
Speaking of away game, our Nottingham Forest embroiled in their own scandal. They're being
We lose
penalized.
points, we're relegated.
It's still up in the air. We don't know if we're going to lose points yet. But like I said, I feel like my head is spinning. There's just so much going on. Bills game, Forest, Francis and AJ. AJ and I, newfound best friends.
Amazing.
Going to Puerto Rico on Wednesday.
Boxing belt.
We got a new boxing belt. That's right. He just created a belt. Turkey created a belt.
The picture of it, like it looks like the last time the UFC like updated their belt. Like they got all the reasonings behind it.
Oh, really?
Premium leather, main plate, incorporates gold and silver. Yeah, like they have the whole breakdown. Now they have all the commission logos.
Yeah.
Like are they in on
Sanctioning
this?
bodies.
Yeah, the sanctioning bodies. They're all in on this?
I would think so. But one of the fun things about being an undisputed champion of boxing is that like you get to stand there with the 4 belts.
Yeah, it's kind of cool when you do the whole draping thing.
Yeah, or that. Yeah. Now you're just gonna walk around like the WWE champ. It's gonna just be like Roman Reigns with 1 belt.
It does look WWE-esque.
It's cool until this champion doesn't want to fight this champion or this guy becomes the mandatory and all those things that are associated with those belts. It's the worst.
And then they're gonna have to cut
Stinks
it up.
with that.
They're gonna have to cut pieces of it.
I hate the multiple belts. I love this. Let's streamline boxing.
How about our guy Zhang, co-man?
Oh yeah, Zhilei Zhang against Joseph Parker.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, me and Rick are smitten with this guy, Zhilei Zhang.
Big fans.
He's incredible.
Trains in Jersey. We should have him stop by the studio.
Please, can we?
Listen.
I mean, can we please? I love a man with Jersey ties. I got 2 boxers, Shakur Stevenson and
that's
Zhilei
right.
Zhang.
That's right. What does he train at? I think Bloomfield he trains out of.
Shout out.
Yeah. We could work on that. No problem. So yes, like we said, very exciting. Then we've got the first pay-per-view of the year. Level of excitement going into the first pay-per-view of
I'm pretty
2024?
hyped. I'm pretty excited. I mean, this main event, I think it's going to be a great fight, and then just the bad blood behind it. I'm pretty excited for it. It's great that they're going back to Canada too.
Toronto as well. I was on a Toronto radio show with my guy Donovan Bennett earlier
Shout
today.
out.
It's going to air later
humble
on.
plug. Nice.
Yeah. You know Donovan Bennett?
No, but I mean Toronto radio.
Yeah. Sportsnet. Those are my guys over at
Shout out to D.
Sportsnet.
Bennett.
He was asking me about the state of Canadian MMA, and I equated it to, in everything in the fight game, there's peaks and valleys. I would say that we're in a valley right now, but I feel like if this was the peak and this was the valley, like we're starting to come out of the valley a little bit with the likes of Mike Malott leading the way, and so I feel like there's what's that?
Jasmine
Jazz Divisius, and no, as we
Divisius.
that's right. We noted this last week. You know, up until the last 3 fights on the card, they're all Canada versus the world. So if you're a Canadian MMA fan,
pull up, have a great time, cheer on the Canadians, and then enjoy the last 3 fights of the night, which, 2 titles on the line, and Arnold Allen Movsar Evloev.
I also think that the UFC, and we've experienced this with the UFC going to ESPN, the UFC being back with Sportsnet is huge for them. Sportsnet really did a great job of promoting the sport in Canada. And TSN, I just always kind of felt like they were kind of half in, half out. And I think now, shout out to our pal Aaron Bronstetter for getting the job as the lead reporter over there. I think now they're really going to push the UFC in a really big way across the region. And hopefully we can get some promotional regional events out there as well to start building younger talent like we had back in the day with Maximum Fighting Championship and Score Fighting Series and TKO. They really helped develop a lot of young Canadian talent. Hopefully this can be the beginning of that. So thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel. So please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.